Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and round 19 of season 3 of the F123 My Team career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for our second sprint race weekend in a row. Of course, if you missed out yesterday's sprint weekend from Qatar, would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Safe to say once again, LaSalle delivered an absolute banger inside F123. But yeah, we return though to Texas and the COTA circuit this weekend. Championship-wise, Sergio Perez now with just a 31-point lead over his teammate with five weekends to go of the championship campaign. So it's definitely not done just yet, of course, but we are mathematically out of the championship hunt after last weekend. They're 1 point between Mercedes and Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship as well. So there are still some battles to be going on more in towards the final few rounds of the series. But 17 points back behind Lewis Hamilton. I'm really hoping in these final few races we can try and close up that gap even more. Let's get into it though here from COTA. Well, I'm not really sure why we don't get an animation for that anymore inside F123, but major rule changes have been confirmed then ready for Season 4 of this series. And it's going to affect the durability and the the powertrain even, and the aerodynamics there. So quite a big shift potentially as we head into Season 4. We haven't got a huge amount of R&D points as well. 41 parts at risk lay on in the campaign. So we're going to work behind the scenes to try and make sure we get as many of these done as we possibly can. You can see all of the Red Bull supplied parts are going to be safe, ready for next season. But anyway, yeah, let's get on with it though here in COTA. Well, I won't lie, when I made the decision to switch to strict track limits for Season 3 of this series, COTA was one of the tracks I was most worried about. Never really been able to find a flow around this venue particularly amazingly on previous F1 games, so we'll wait and see as to how this goes today. I know I've seen some of you, of course, commenting about the track limits penalties. Of course, you know, we are still struggling with it on occasion, but definitely it has worked nicely for me in my league racing so far, so I don't think I'm going to change it for Season 4, and of course the more we do it, you know, the better we are going to get with it, but hopefully we can have a nice clean qualifying here from COTA. Of course it's just good where, you know, I'm playing on the same track limits no matter what series I'm doing, as, you know, the consistency is there as well, of course. So yeah, fingers crossed though, of course, this weekend. You know, Albon has already set a lap time on the board that's I think second fastest, just behind George Russell, who is weirdly good around COTA as well inside F123, but hopefully we can try and match those two. I think they're down in the mid 131. It is a weirdly long race here. Running our way through the final couple of corners though, taking absolutely zero risks through the penultimate turn as we head up towards the start finish line. What is the time gonna be? 32.0 there, only good enough for 10th. That's a bit further away from where I wanted to be. Well, I definitely left a bit of time on the table in Q1, but as we dive into Q2 though, we need to be definitely down now, snugly into the 131s. Russell, though, clearly not got a good first time on the board, only up in 12th place at the moment, so that is one driver that will definitely be able to go for a second run here and only have one set of tyres to drag into Q3, but making our way down the hill off of turn 1, so difficult to try and get the throttle tidily down through there, but yeah, running pretty similar setup to what I did at Qatar, to be honest. Just want to be able to try and carry that speed through the high downforce sections around the venue and hope that we don't lose out too much on the straights. Making our way though in towards the Turkey section towards the end of the lap. I must admit, I know I've said it before, but COTA does suit this new regulation of F1 cars. Can I be a bit braver than I was in Q1? Yes, I absolutely am. To make our way in towards the final corner, a little bit of front left lock-in through that final turn up towards the line. 32.3, and I commented on George Russell, but we've somehow gone slower. Well, there is a big chase for time now. I think everyone is a little bit scared of everyone else as we head into the final run of Q2, apart from Lewis Hamilton, who is on pole by a good couple of tenths of a second here at the end of the second qualifying. Yeah, Lewis on a 31.0, so I'm not sure where I'm going to find 1.3 seconds, but we need to find at least half a second as well. A little bit of front lock in there at turn 1. You really cannot brake on the curbs on this game, can you? And that is a horrible run off the turn as well. In towards the final couple of corners though. Here we are half second up. It is going to be so close, but we've got to make sure we nail these final couple of turns. They're a little bit of a correction through the first spot, but we know there's time to find through the second of the final left-handers up towards the line. 7/10 up. Will it be enough? I think we're 10th. I think we've just about done it. That was incredibly tight there, and it is 10th place. I wasn't aware of this, but apparently there is rain on the horizon towards the end of qualifying. I can't see where, to be honest, but the game is adamant. I mean, it doesn't look overcast anywhere. Why is the game adamant it's about to rain at any moment? Right, getting ready then to start our one run here in Q3. We've got to make this count. So we head out of the final corner, get on that throttle as early as possible, open up the DRS. It's already pretty much in 6th gear when you cross the start-finish line. That rain is definitely not going to arrive, but we need to be aiming for a low 31. We're definitely not in the fight for pole sensibly here unless I get a lap absolutely out of nowhere. It's easily been my best lap of qualifying so far, 31.1. And I dropped a couple of tenths there at the end of the S's by trying to take one of them in too high a gear. But everyone so far crossing the line is going faster than me. I've given it all she's got. Well, there we go. It's Hamilton on pole position then here at COTA once again. Carlos Sainz breaks up the Mercedes front row, and after Perez set the pace on the first runs there, a 130.8 is only good enough for P4. We actually tied with Pierre Gasly as well at the end of the session, so haven't done that with the AI in a long old time there, but I mean, 6 tenths off pole in the end, not particularly brilliant. We definitely could have been down towards Albon's time, but luckily we've got 10 laps of a sprint race to try and recover some places.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Perez, Albon, Verstappen, Leclerc, Gasly, Mr. Monaco, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Magnussen, Ocon, De Vries, Teo Pourchaire, Liam Lawson, Joe, Bottas, Tsunoda, Fittipaldi, Stroll and Logan Sargent. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Well, apparently there's not much to say by any of the Sky F1 team there, but we're already on the grid then here for the sprint race from COTA. 10 laps once again ahead of us, and we're going to start this one on a set of the medium compounded tyres there. Don't think the hards are really worth the gamble here today, but yeah, lining up P9. I want to try and recover some places. Lando Norris behind us on his set of softs. He is going to be quick. Right, let's do this thing though. Ready on the grid for the US Grand Prix sprint race. 5 red lights. A mighty long hole, but it is lights out and away we go. Or not if you're Max Verstappen or Alex Albon there, or Carlos Sainz. Loads of cars not getting away well as we head up towards Salmon there. And once again, another time, we've seen a Red Bull get a slow start as we're going to try and scoot around the outside of my teammate there. And 4 places gained immediately off the start of the race. So we can't thank that all too much. Very, very happy with that one as Mercedes 1 and 2 at the front of the field. Of course, still locked into that mighty tight battle with Ferrari, who were incredibly quick last weekend. Of course, Carlos Sainz probably should have taken the victory. I like to believe a little bit of karma got him at the end of that race, but, you know, we'll let bygones be bygones here as heading down the hill on lap 1. Carlos still leaning all over the back of me there, trying to look for an opportunity. So it is both Mercs. The Red Bull of Sergio Perez, who I'm sure would love to try and extend a bit of a gap over his teammate Verstappen. Then Ferrari, Audi there, as I think Verstappen is still in 9th place. There has been a lot of movement between our top runners here as we make our way down in towards Sector 3 though. Yeah, kept it pretty clean and tidy. Found an avenue down the outside that really worked for me there at the start, but I'm not too sure how competitive this car is going to be in race pace. We've actually got a 5-place grid penalty for a gearbox change that is obviously going to move us down the order ready for the main event tomorrow. So any extra places we can gain tonight would be a very, very good consolation prize. But yeah, are we going to see Perez really hassle those Mercs throughout this sprint race, or are we going to see Russell be a bit of a rear gunner, as this might be Hamilton, his very last chance to win an F1 race? Oh, yellow's out. Someone's got issues. You can see one of, sort of Verstappen running a bit slowly. I think it is the Dutchman. Just seen him lose the place to Alex Albon once again. And don't say Max Verstappen is going to have yet another failure in this season. Absolutely. This championship is not meant for Max Verstappen. He's out of the US Grand Prix sprint race. And Sergio Perez can just breathe a sigh of relief there. Any points he scores today should be a big advantage over his teammate. And, of course, Max will start the main event from the back of the field tomorrow. On to lap 3, DRS now enabled, and Charles Leclerc is almost out of that range behind Sergio Perez in front of him, so we might be a bit of a sitting duck here as we head out onto the back straight. We know that Ferrari is ferociously fast in a straight line when it wants to be, as Charles Leclerc, they're just going a bit defensive. We'll try and dive to the outside of the Ferrari. See if we can switch him on the exit of the corner. No, Charles Leclerc stands his ground this time round. He can be a very, very stout defender in Charles Leclerc in the world of Formula 1. Can we get down the inside, though? This is what the section of corners really invites you to do. And down the inside we'll go with the monogas driver and up into P4. Well, I don't know about Hamilton, but Russell and Perez both on a set of soft compound tyres here, so they might really struggle for tyre life towards the end of this one. Alex Albon, after being comfortably quicker than me on Friday night, really is struggling on Sprint Race Saturday here, but I need to try and get in the DRS range of those top 3 to see if their tyres do fall off, we can be there to capitalise. Oh, more yellows out. Oh, Albon's gone round. Alex Albon there must have just tried... Oh, I've not had one of those in a long time. A red flag here. In a sprint race as well. I don't know if I've ever had one of those inside F1 23, but that's going to allow us a bit of a reset then, ready for the second half of this race. And now, I mean, we can go on a fresh set of soft compound tyres for the final 4 laps. Race restart lap is lap 7.
Okay, you've got a drive-through penalty. You've been given a drive-through penalty. Okay, black flag, we're out of the race.
Let's take a look at the driver's standings. A result that will make Sergio Perez happy as he pushes his championship lead out even further. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow where we'll be live with all the action. And until then, goodbye.
Well, I have no idea what's just happened there off the restart. It's gone to a black screen, and we've just not been able to do anything. Couldn't pause the game. Couldn't start the car, couldn't do anything, and we've been disqualified from the sprint race here at COTA. George Russell is going to have taken the win ahead of Perez and Charles Leclerc there. Albon recovered to 6th place despite his spin, and we've actually been registered a DNF there. Hamilton didn't even make it to the checkered flag either, so I've got no idea what that was all about, but I guess we've just got to get on with it then. Ready for the main event. I mean, we may as well put a whole fresh power unit in the back of the car, but what on earth was that?
Well, you don't need me to remind you that Formula 1 is now so beloved in the United States that we race here 3 times a year. But let's give respect to COTA, or the Circuit of the Americas, to give it its full name. This place laid the foundations for this moment and still remains the host of the US Grand Prix. We're racing today then in Travis County, Texas, where 20 corners and speeds of up to 200 miles per hour await us on this magnificent racetrack. It's 60% full throttle with plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into turn 1 and the long back straight into turn 12. What a race we have in store today. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Albon, Leclerc, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Magnussen, Ocon, De Vries, Théo Pourchaire, Bottas, Liam Lawson, Joe, Fittipaldi, Stroll, Tsunoda, Sargent, Hamilton, Verstappen and Mr. Monaco. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Alongside me to discuss all the action today is Natalie Pinkham. Thanks for joining us, Natalie. And tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, the surface looks clean enough, but I'm a little bit worried about the track temperature. It's pretty cool out there, which could give some teams difficulties when it comes to keeping their tyres in the right operating window. The cars out there that work their tyres hard and really put a lot of energy through them, well, they'll be the ones that are better off.
Right, well, here we are then. Trackside for the US Grand Prix. And that looks rather interesting when it comes to the weather there. Meant to start off sunny. We are meant to get some rain and then it's meant to clear back up again right towards the end of the afternoon. So what might happen is anybody's guess. So we're going to try and go for the alternate strategy then. 16 laps on a set of mediums and then 12 laps on a set of soft compound tyres. Then may as well have the extra grip if and when that rain does appear. But yeah, we've got 10 World Championships lining up just in front of me on the grid. All three of us having a bit of a nightmare in Saturday's sprint race. Ours, however, really not sure what the case may be. Well, let's see what we can do then. It's our last question mark challenge here at COTA. 5 red lights. It's lights out and away we go. Hamilton a little bit hesitant there off the launch as we're going to try and get a run up towards turn 1. Don't really know where I want to be, to be honest, as well, Sargent there just a little bit earlier on the brakes than I was expecting, and Max Verstappen trying to be patient alongside the Red Bull Junior. So we're going to try and get around the outside of the pair of them. Of course, the Dutchman, he needs to make an impact today. He needs to be rather aggressive, otherwise Sergio Perez has got a fantastic opportunity to extend that lead at the top of the championship. And Sergio, well, he's straight into P1 then of the US Grand Prix here as well. So the perfect start for him for this afternoon's running. To be honest, I want to try and break free from Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton as well here, because they'll probably be two very, very quick drivers throughout the rest of the afternoon. Of course, we know just how quick Verstappen is always in Formula 1, and Hamilton took that pole in yesterday's in Friday night's sprint race. Of course, had that mechanical failure after we retired from the main event, so it was all a little bit weird come the end of Saturday there, and like I said, obviously that glitch that we faced as well. I am tempted for Season 4 of this series, if we get glitches like that, just to restart the events, but you guys know me, generally I'd much rather sort of showcase those issues and, you know, focus on the next one, to be completely honest. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below. Season 4, I'm really hoping with all the new rule changes and things like that, could be the year that we can properly fight for the crown. But you know what, towards the end of that one though, we've had a very good start. We're up 6 places then into P16 here, of course, with that fresh gearbox in the back of the car, but Perez still leading the way. He's got, I think, both Ferraris in hot pursuit. It might be Alex Albon there up in P3, and Russell is all the way down to 5th behind an Alpine. Around the outside of Fittipaldi down at the bottom of the hill. No, apparently not. Fittipaldi there very much trying to cover me off on the exit of the corner, so now we're going to be drag racing side by side with the Williams as we head down the back straight. We'll try and make sure we make it very clear that we are having the position there, and yeah, that Williams though again is always very, very competitive in a straight line. But up into P15 we'll go. Lawson and Zhou up next. At the final corner, are we going to be able to get a run on Liam Lawson as DRS now enabled? Surely we can try and have a look to the outside of the Williams in towards turn 1. See Lawson there a little bit hesitant on the brakes. I think actually it was more that we missed my braking point there. So we'll try and get a run off of turn 1 as we head down in towards turn 2 and turn 3. They're still now side by side with the Williams. This is a bit sketchy on the way in. neither of us willing to give up there, but we do get around the outside of Liam Lawson. And of course, yeah, podium sitter back in Suzuka a couple of races ago. I also appreciate the irony, the fact that I'm basically doing 2 last question mark challenges, 2 races in a row. Joker, I knew though, he'll have no DRS off of Valtteri Bottas in front of him. Hopefully those two don't have an incident like they did in Qatar. But round the outside we'll go and up into P13. Next up though, Valtteri Bottas as we start lap 4. Little way away behind the Alfa Romeo as we head down in towards turn 1, but it is Valtteri Bottas, so we will try and send it. Oh, almost contact there between myself and the Alfa Romeo. I'll admit he did a good job to jump out of the way, but again, it's Bottas, you kind of got to go for those. But it already looks like just on lap 5, the field has been split into 3 separate groups. We've got the back markers, kind of all these cars that are trying to cross the gap between the midfield and the front runners. And of course our front running gaggle as well. There, Perez, I think, is the only car not within a second of another one early on, but I'm sure he's quite happy about that, leading the way at the front of the field. Verstappen and Hamilton making very slow progress early on here. As only 5 laps in, we've almost carved our way through half of the field. But yeah, Nick de Vries, he's been very, very weird this year. Of course, Lando Norris has kind of been able to bridge that gap and match the huge train of cars towards the front. Nick de Vries has often been sort of ahead of the back markers, if you will, but he's been able to latch onto the back of Esteban Ocon early on this afternoon. Maybe, just maybe, we can try and find a way around it there as Lando Norris just inside the top 10, just a little way in front, but I'm already looking at those soft tyres. They don't seem to be gelling all too well, the AI, early on here as we wind our way in through this first sector, just trying to keep it clean and tidy. Oh, if I'd been a bit braver there on the entry, we could have probably had a look down the inside of Nick de Vries, but yeah, just trying to get as much clear air over the front wing as we possibly can. Will we be close enough to try and go for a run down the back straight? We're definitely going to have the DRS off of the McLaren car there, as staring at the Dark Trace logos on the rear wing. Get on that throttle nice and early though, but you can see how quick that McLaren is off the corner. Fantastic traction, fantastic speed to the outside of Nick de Vries. We'll go 210 miles an hour to make our way down the back straight and try and dive late on the brakes there. Around the outside we'll go. He gives me the room. Good clean racing. And we're up now just outside the top 10. A lot earlier on the brakes there, down at the half than I was really expecting. We'll try and scoop to the inside of the Alpine off the corner. And for the first time today then, we are going to be back inside the top 10. Albeit for about half a second there, but it's still a pretty even fight between Ocon and I as we head down the back straight. Really are trying to squeeze the Frenchman. Make sure we don't run into the back of Lando Norris there, but we make the move work, and it's actually the Aston Martins that are creating rather an impressive train here early on. Magnussen and Piastri still trying to decipher who is the number 1, and well, the championship standings are saying Piastri, and track position is telling us a similar story. Right, come on then, Lando. Let's see if we can try and get a run on the second of the McLaren cars. Then he's often been there just floating around the bottom of the top 10. He's really been able to snooker away points wherever possible. That McLaren car has really not been able to keep up with the likes of Alpine, Aston Martin, ourselves, or any of the big 3 teams. But yeah, we get down the inside now up to 9th place then, so we're still making up more than an overtake a lap here early on in the day. But yeah, there's a big gap ahead of Oscar Piastri there up to George Russell. So maybe if we can get to the front of this group, it'll also be interesting to see when all these soft compound runners finally decide to pit. So maybe now Charles Leclerc and I are going to be able to try and hound him. Nope, Magnussen now opens the DRS. Don't know what that was all about, as Leclerc eyed up a move down the inside, but we're going to try and do what we did on Saturday for Charlie Boyd. This time around, even more effective there, as we'll swoop underneath him off of the corner, and now into P8, so still gaining at least a place every single lap early on this afternoon. Magnussen, though, yes, starting to lose sight of his teammate at the final corner, though. This is the closest we've been to anyone as we head back down towards turn 1. Whoa. Not my finest. Not my finest, I'll admit. We snagged the brake on the way in trying to rotate the car through. Magnussen, there was a bit of contact there, but we only get a warning for it, so I apologise to the Dane, but no doubt he'll get a black and orange flag now for a loose front wing. Okay, rain 10 to 15 minutes away then. Could we still... I mean, we're going to take these mediums to about the wet period anyway. Imagine if it went to intermediate conditions and we could then try and do effectively, you know, 1 pit stop less than everyone else. I'm more than happy to go on those softs if it does start raining, but it is a question of how much is it going to rain. and for how long? Oh, Zhou Guanyu out of the race. Alfa Romeo having pretty much a nightmare over the last couple of races, and that has set to continue. There we go, Perez into the pit lane at the front of the field. And we can see Alex Albon as well peeling in, as well as Oscar Piastri, so most of our front runners are in. Only Pierre Gasly has opted to stay out there, so Alpine, yet another race where they are actually going to get some laps led under their belt, which is rather good for them, but reassuring for us as well, of course, that the soft tyres can basically do half a race then in this series now, especially around a track like COTA. But yeah, Perez though only re-emerging 6 seconds behind me, so he's probably going to be right up with me by the time I peel into the pits. And yeah, that basically means in the second half of the race, unless of course we do get that wet period, we might have to try and make up an entire pit stop on the Mexican. We got Pierre Gasly into the pits at the end of lap 13, and we have now gone from last to first with a huge asterisk inside 14 laps here, so rather happy with that. Perez, Magnussen and Leclerc are all still duking it out with each other. But yeah, it won't be long, of course, before Perez closes up to me. But yeah, the team's still saying that rain is about 10 to 15 minutes away, so it might be that we have to go on a set of softs anyway, and it could be rain right towards the end of the afternoon. Well, Perez clearly doesn't want to leave anything to chance this afternoon. He is really romped up to the back of me. So I think we are now the only car yet to pit this afternoon. Maybe the Aston Martin of Kevin Magnussen, who's having an absolute nightmare of things. But yeah, Perez though, surely now is going to be able to fly past me as we head down the back straight. And to be honest, it's not really a fight I need to get involved in at the moment. As there will go the Mexican. I could have potentially tried to slow him down for my teammate, but yeah, I don't think we really would have been able to do much. We've got to focus on our own race here. There's still the chance for us to score some good points. Rain's getting further away then at the moment, the team reckons. So yeah, we're definitely going to box the end of this lap, bolt on a fresh set of the soft compound tyres to see us through to the checkered flag. But yeah, that is so frustrating at this stage of the day. I wanted to take the gamble, but it's not going to be worth it. We round our way though towards the end of lap 16, peeling into the pit lane we shall go. And yeah, we've got a lot of work to do in the second half of this race, almost into the outside wall there. We were lucky we were able to cadence brake there and get the car rotated in, but where are we going to re-emerge then in this race? Is it's actually Oscar Piastri that is still hanging on out there for whatever reason, so clearly trying to go for a similar strat to myself. But yeah, 12 laps on a set of softs isn't out of the realms of possibility. The AI were able to do it earlier on, and where are we going to re-emerge then? Just out behind Magnussen. Can we stay ahead of Charlie Boy? Yes, we just about can there, as he's on a set of hards. That seems, well, it seems very Ferrari-esque. What we could really do now in the second half of this race is either a safety car or a red flag. Hopefully not a red flag like yesterday, though, that ends up breaking the game there. But purple through sector 3. So we obviously need to try and see if we can bag the fast slap bonus point. Of course, already inside the top 10. You can see the kind of run we're able to get off of turn 1. Magnussen desperate trying to defend. I thought that was going to be game over then. Magnussen really did try to cut in front of me, but we held our ground against the Dane. And we know he's not one to give an inch when he absolutely doesn't have to, and Magnussen's certainly there. Never had any intention of giving me any room, but we're through. We're into P9. And yeah, Norris next up, as we're just going to be outside the DRS. Esteban Ocon is certainly another driver that struggled. You know, Alpine have made this big leap forward, and Ocon often seems to still just be not able to quite match it. It's down the inside of Lando. Norris, we're going to look. Don't often see moves in towards the final corner here, but we'll absolutely take it. The opportunity opens up for us. 32.9. New fast lap of the day as well. So we are absolutely flying at the moment, as will we be able to get past Ocon before the S's. We're going to get all over his gearbox through turn 1. Can we put the power down the hill? Yes, we absolutely can there, and surely we're not going to risk it again. This time around we get much further alongside though. Well, that's a warning. That's my second warning of the day. Whether you guys feel that I gained the place because of the advantage, let me know down in the comments below. But I can't help but feel like it was very, very fine margins and we were going to get through either way. We've got no more warnings though, and a 8-second gap to Piastri, who still hasn't pit. Well, I'm really stupid because I was looking at the mini-map then rather than where I should be going, so that's not exactly ideal. But yeah, I don't know what Oscar Piastri's game plan is here late on in the day, but I can't help but feel, unless we get some rain or something, that we're probably not going to be able to close up to Gasly anyway.
Piastri's ahead of you. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 6.5 seconds. tyres are 8 laps old. Time last lap was a 1:34.8. Okay, so you're gaining by 8 tenths. 8 tenths.
Well, when did Oscar Piastri pit in this Grand Prix? I don't remember that. Was he on softs? How did he get that close to the cars in front? I'm completely thrown off by what Oscar Piastri has done this afternoon to be able to be there. That has absolutely blown my mind. I was adamant he hadn't pitted yet and was just trying to hang on, but apparently he has. And yet, no, he did, didn't he? He pit in front of me. How did I completely forget that at 3/4 distance this afternoon? That is utterly bizarre. But yeah, 7 laps to go. 6 seconds up to Oscar then, so we have got to try and close in him before the end of the race, but I'm not convinced I'm going to be able to. He's still saying rain is on the way though, so this race is far from over. Oh, I think I'm starting to see the rain. 6 laps to go here, and the rain now starting to fall. We've definitely still got more grip than the AI in front, so could they really start to struggle? And could we see a switch to inters before this race is over? Also trying to rack my brains. I don't remember the last wet race we had in this series. The only race... Oh, no! That's really bad. That is really, really bad for us towards the end of this one, but do I gamble it? Do I gamble a set of intermediates? We've already started to see a few droplets on the screen. I don't even know why we've got a safety car. Clearly, the FIA, they see any rain now in the world of Formula 1 and they instantly call out a safety car, but I'm going to gamble. I have to gamble. If we don't, we're not going to score points here this afternoon because we simply won't be able to pull out a 3-second advantage. Yep, Mark adamant the way is not to go inters, but I'm going to ignore him. We're going to box. This is a big call. I don't know how many places we're going to lose by doing this, but I don't think it should be too many. We'll be a bit cheeky. Whoa, on pit entries, that was, well, we did just about nudge the outside wall there on pit lane entry, but yeah, we're probably going to re-emerge then just behind Magnussen in this Grand Prix. I admit the track definitely is not wet enough yet, but with 5 laps to go here of the Grand Prix, of course, it's going to be a couple more laps that are very, very slow. So, that's going to allow the rain to fall even more. We can already see we've got some droplets, but yeah, make sure we come out ahead of Max. P11, but this is such a gamble. And even now behind the safety car, we're starting to see a few small puddles forming around the circuit. I'm hoping the safety car is going to be in this lap, because I'm starting to think the AI might feel it's time to switch. This might work, but even then, even if we've just got to try and do 2 laps, the front runners, Perez for example, might still be able to break free. That track is starting to definitely get damp now though, with just 3 laps to go, but are we going to allow those back market cars to close up? Could the safety car still come in at the end of this lap? They could go for a late call to try and bring that safety car in, as I think the back markers AI are actually struggling just to keep up, but this is absolutely intermediate conditions at the moment. I reckon all the AI are going to pit, and then we're still going to have the safety car out. So this huge gamble is not even going to pay dividends for me. As rounding our way through the final couple of corners, surely. No one's pitting. How are they still not pitting here? I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining for a second, but surely now, when we do go green flag racing again, the AI are going to be absolutely screwed. The AI then, 2 laps to go. They are in big trouble. Safety car can't stay out on the track. We're less than 2 laps remaining of a GP, so it had no choice but to peel in now. But will we see all the AI pit? Will they just try and brave it out in these final couple of laps? And surely this is an opportunity for us to win this thing, which seems crazy to say from 11th place with just 2 laps to go. Remember as well, we've got to try and get a 3-second margin over Checo Perez, but we're just going to try and take things easy. Let's presuming to resume racing once again then. And are the AI... No, they're still not pitting. The AI are adamant. They've got to try and stay out to the end of this thing. And look at this, just coasting their way through the final couple of corners. Let's try and get on the throttle then. We can't obviously jump Magnussen before the line. Now we will try and go for it. They'll want the Dane, as we will instantly try and slot ourselves back inside the top 10. But this is actually just going to end up being trying to avoid other cars through these final couple of laps. DRS has been disabled, so we're definitely on the right tyre choice. And look at that, Charles Leclerc. It's like he's standing still around the outside of Lando Norris as well. This is going to be stupid through the final couple of laps. Why none of the AI, not even any of the back markers, decided to go the same way? I will never quite understand. As round the outside of Esteban Ocon we go. Of course, got to make sure that they don't pick up another penalty, but this is just like racing Formula 2 cars. Around the outside of Oscar Piastri will go again. And now we can see, I mean, look at this. We're going to be at the front of the field before we even start the final lap of the race. This is so dumb. But you know what? With all the bad luck I've had this season, I'm not going to complain. Straight past George Russell into P4. Alex Albon. Surely it's going to be, again, I mean, everyone is a sitting duck, aren't they, at the moment? Albon going to try and defend the position from me. I'm not really too sure why. Surely the team will be telling him to just get out of the way as we'll go around the outside. Oh, no contact with Alex Albon there. I was not expecting him to be able to brake as late as me down there. But, yeah, up now into P2 we go. And Sergio Perez, he's led every single lap this afternoon. This was a critical race for him to win for his championship hopes. But you know what? He's still going to pull out an advantage over Max. But it's going to be 7 points less than he ever intended there. 1 lap to go now of the US Grand Prix. And I tell you what, we might have the 3-second advantage pretty much instantly as we make our way through the final couple of corners here. The gap immediately up to 2 seconds. And out of nowhere, from the back of the field at the start of this race, I mean, even now I reckon it'd be worth pitting for some of the AI there, because we've gained about 15 seconds in 1 lap. But another 20 corners to go around this Grand Prix. And, well, at the moment, now we don't even have to gain any time over Sergio Perez. It is done. It is sealed. And after the nightmare that we had back in Season 1, remember, where I bottled the podium on the final lap, I really hope, I'm not jinxing myself again here by saying all of this with just 1 more tour to go here from COTA. But often, yeah, last season's race, it was actually a bit of a snooze fest, to be honest. Pretty much both the sprint and the main event were pretty boring in terms of affairs, but that has not been the story today as we make our way down the hill. Of course, remember, in real Formula 1, no driver has ever won from the back of the field. I reckon it's something Verstappen should attempt to do once the championship is sealed in real life 2023. But down the back straight for the final time this afternoon, we got an 11-second lead over Sergio Perez. We can cruise around these final few corners here this afternoon, running ever so slightly wide there, as this track is getting still very, very slippery, even on these intermediates. I've got no idea how the AI are able to hang on the way they are at the moment, but we're not going to knock it for 1 second. We've had so many races in recent weeks where I felt like we had a chance at a win, especially Qatar last weekend, where we got that puncture on the final lap of the sprint race. On the main event. We're not going to get the same luck here, though. Round in the final corner, we're going to be back on top here at the US Grand Prix. My 2nd win of the year. Let's absolutely have it.
Oh, so sore. Ah, fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserve that race win. Well done, mate.
That's it then for another magnificent United States Grand Prix. And they've hung on to take a sublime victory here today. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, I think what impresses me most is just how the drivers hold their focus and nerve with these massive rain delays and this changeable forecast. You've got to be out there on track, feeling and looking for the grip and know when it's right to switch compounds.
Here comes your top 3 making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula 1. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. A result that will make Sergio Perez happy as he pushes his championship lead out even further. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Miss Monaco.
And it's another title in the bag for Red Bull after a long and hard-fought season. They built an astonishing car this year, and the glory they'll be taking back to Milton Keynes is fully deserved. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, there we are then, the end of the US Grand Prix there, and 22nd fastest lap race victory. It made it look simple on paper, but it was anything but this afternoon despite our two-stop strategy there. Perez will come through for P2, and yeah, still handedly opens up his advantage at the top of the table once more. Sainz ahead of Albon, Russell, Gasly, Piastri, Ocon, Norris and Charles Leclerc will round out our top 10. But that means championship-wise, 56 points now, the lead for Sergio Perez. He could, if I'm not mistaken, don't think he could quite actually mathematically wrap it up next weekend in Mexico City. Still 33... 58, 83 points available, 86 points available, of course, so yeah, you need to pull out 30 points next weekend, but he can get one hand on that trophy. 56-point lead with 4 races to go. Surely that is done and dusted now for the Mexican there. Russell's still in P3, but we're now jumped Lewis Hamilton and into 6th place there, so maybe, just maybe, we can try and fight Carlos Sainz in that Ferrari by the end of the year. You know, we want to prepare ourselves for a fight right at the front during Season 4. Championship-wise, Ferrari retake that 2nd place from Mercedes. 7 points now, the advantage as we head into the final 4 Grand Prix. It would take a miracle for us to close up, but I'm not saying it's impossible as we head into the final couple of races of the season there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back when Formula 1 returns tomorrow in Mexico. You guys do not want to miss that. A massive thank you to my Patreon supporters that you can see currently on your screens. If you want to join them from as little as £1 a month, it would be massively appreciated and you help support my work. You also get access to weekly updates from myself with everything going on behind the scenes with the channel. But yeah, a massive thank you to the names you see on your screen, and we'll be back very soon with a brand new video.